Well, well, well. Maybe you have been told that a PhD is easy, but much more likely you've been told that it's hard. Look, I'm not gonna lie, there is definitely hard components of it. But there are different components of it. And why do you want to do a PhD? Do you want to do a PhD just for the challenge of it?
No, not back into the stew.
Do you need it for a qualification to get into a job that you want?
How can you tell me that I need question 13 to pass the exam when question 13 doesn't exist?
Or do you want to work with animals? Maybe that's your reasoning. Whatever the reason is, what anyone has told you, they are lying. And that's because it's completely different for everyone. Every single person who does a PhD will have a completely different experience. Your experience, my experience, and your experience in particular will be different. And you at the back, don't worry about it. It's not for you. It's not for everyone. I consider that it's barely even for me. So maybe, just maybe you'll formulate your own opinion on what a PhD is by watching me suffer and also have some of the best experiences of my life. So please, sit back and enjoy.
It's exactly as uncomfortable as it looks, I would say. Like my pants, like my shorts immediately like right up into my ass as soon as I like put them on. They don't really make these for tall people either, so. Well, hopefully. Look at all the bees having a sip. A lot of bees. Thirsty little lads. Oh, bro! If I go in, I don't think I'm coming back out. I'm going where no man has ever ventured before. Oh, the bottom is like made of like jelly and
Drops off a bit.
yeah, drops off a little bit, just a wee bit. Okay, well, I'm like floating a little. We have good news and bad news. This pole, this is 1.3 meters here. I think it is definitely 5 meters deep. Can confirm. It almost feels like you're walking on the moon. Okay, I'm gonna go to the other area that got dug out. Why is it so like deep? Oh, thick. If I didn't have this pole, I wouldn't be getting back out. Like if I'm stuck, you're coming to get me, right?
Mate, I'll throw you the toe strap.
It's like about half a meter thick of mud. This is good. This is really good because that means I can have maybe even 3 deep over here. Over there, I can have about 1 deep of experiments because it just drops off into oblivion. But here, oh, would you look at that? That's really good. So that's like a whole area. I can have, cages will be about 2 meters wide by about 1 meters long, or the other way around. And so I can probably have about 3 deep here, which is phenomenal. This goes on for ages like this. So basically this is 1.62 meters the stick, yeah, and I just stick it in there. I go about 3 meters out, and then I take the deduct the height from the top of the water and then I know exactly how deep it is. It's kind of the easiest way. But I'm making sure that is sitting on the top of the substrate because I'm not counting the depth of the substrate. I wish I had more hands, you know? Minus 0.9. Ugh. Minus 1.01. Yeah. Oh! Water just entered in the back. Oh, you bastard. Oh, water just entered through the back. Now my butt's wet. I'm wet. No context taken. 0.46. It's absolutely crazy how deep it gets though. Like, I was standing over somewhere that was technically 30 centimeters deep a minute ago, and now I'm technically floating. It's such a battle as well. It's like looking at a marshmallow, you know? No, mate. Mission successful. Yeah, so you never eat blackberries in like a farming setting, because the percent chance of them being sprayed is extremely high in Australia. Probably end up in the hospital pretty quick, even though they look pretty tasty. What's it say?
39.4.
Ready to game?
We got it.
Good. Time to get the sond out. Alright, so now we're going to measure a bunch of water quality variables. This measures temperature, pH, electrical conductivity. Sorry, some really creepy little fly thing was crawling on my neck. And dissolved oxygen. And so basically it's in a sleeve right now. Really hard to get a sleeve. And so this just keeps the probes wet so they don't dry out. But then in here there's a bunch of probes, and so we launch this into the water basically. But then we have a control panel as well. So fun. We'll do this at about 3 meters to get all the water quality variables we need. Big long cable, and it's attached by like a metal buckle, just so I don't drop this and it disappears into the murky depth forever. I'll do it at about 3 meters out-ish. Okay, this will do about here. So I submerge it in the water, and I hold it here. I'm pretty sure I can submerge it completely, but I don't actually need to for this case right now. So just hold it here, and then Eric here will get some readings out for me. Cool. Well, yeah, it kind of is like that.
Oh man, look, yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm walking past. I wonder how this camera's got here, bro. I don't know, man. I've never seen this man before.
Oh wait, I'll go a bit further out. So I was going 3 meters ish.
Wait, where's your pole, bro?
Oh fuck, where is she? She's in there.
Oh god.
The action cam shot. Alright. Alright.
9.19.
Is it stabilised there?
9.14.
Interesting. I wonder why it's different. Well, typically pH can sway if like a value like KH is different, so overnight it sway. This is the one where I give you all the values. There is an optical sensor for each type of measurement. Some have both, so the pH has both temperature and pH on the optical sensor, but the issue is some of these, like the dissolved oxygen, if I just launch this down the water, then an air bubble could get trapped under there and I might receive like 100% oxygen, which you know, is a little bit false. Yeah, okay. Well, I am stuck. No, not back into the stew. Oh. Oh. And yes, I am here to save the environment.
Aren't those delicious?
Okay, so now I'm looking for an area that I haven't just walked through about 40 times, so it's not super turbid. And yes, this is my washing basket from home. You gotta make do with what you have. And
Hey, peak science right here.
it is peak science. Whoever said, you know, science is accurate? It's just bad, you know.
Sometimes it's done out of mum's laundry basket.
It's sometimes done out of mum's laundry basket. Very astute. Well, this is looking like some nice soup. Okay, so for our first sample, I need 2 liters of dam piss water. And basically this 2 liter sample is for an eDNA analysis. I'm trying to determine what species-ish could already be in there, because I don't want to go introduce a species and then have a whole experiment based around that species that turns out there's been a species already just cruising down there, and in this case it's carp. So I'm going to take a water sample, run that through a filter that has primers in it for different species, and I can determine basically if it's been in there through its DNA like traces that's already left in the water. Oh mate! I'm going to rinse this out without disturbing the water as much as possible, because I don't really want crap water, because the more turbid the water is, the longer it's going to take to go through our filter later on at the university. But considering these are brand new sterile bottles, I'm going to rinse them out. Really good cordial. Smells as it looks. Try to get it good. Looks like I just took a massive piss just then. Where did that come from? No, it's not. It didn't come from where you thought it would. It's coming out of my top pocket. Oh, it doesn't smell good either. I'm going to put it there, and yes, I am contributing to degradation, because I'm trying not to disturb the water as much as I can. I'm going to take my first sample, and just like that, science has been made. I would put it down if I could move. For my next sample, this sample I am going to be collecting total suspended solids, nitrate, ammonia, and phosphate. Doing that so I can actually see how aquatic plants would respond in here. Are there any toxicities to fish or mollusks or mussels or anything like that? I already know there's yabbies living in there and they really don't care, so I'm sure it's fine, but I'm doing my due diligence. I'm not going to test it right near the crack. Well, that crack will have a lot of ammonia in it, and we don't want that. I might even go a little further out to actually get this sample. I'm probably going to have to stand still for a bit, let it settle. So now I stand here for like a minute or two. Yes, you can watch. Okay, so now, and yes, my canopy is held up by a tomato stake because it snapped and I can't afford to get another one right now. But,
Please sponsor me.
please, can't you see how much of a poor savage I am? We have to keep samples cold. So in this case, these samples in particular, the 1 litre ones, the eDNA one, and the one for phosphate type nutrients, have to be kept refrigerated. And so I have frozen some milk jugs and apple juice containers, and which are starting to lose their freezing capacity, and that will keep them cold. The smaller one I'm about to do has to be frozen, so I will refrigerate that until I get back to an area that has a freezer, freeze it overnight, and hope it lasts the journey on the way home. Now for our smaller sample, in this one we are collecting total phosphorus, total nitrogen. That's it actually. But to get that, that's all forms of nitrogen and all forms of phosphorus that could be in here, not just like organic phosphorus, for example. But to get this, it's really painful, especially in an area that is quite turbid. And that's because I have to filter out basically everything out of the water that won't pass through this little filter. This is I think a 0.05 micron filter, maybe it's 0.5. I can't remember. The point is, it's a very, very fine filter. I'll probably go through a few of them trying to do this, but I have to push water through a syringe, through the filter, into this. So we're going to take our sample. Good soup. Oh, so good and tasty. Now we've got our little IV injection. We are going to get our little sample container. We are going to get our filter. I've run out of hands. Okay, so here is my tiny little filter. This pushes on into here, kind of like tightens on into there. Then with this, I can now squeeze this into here. As you can see, I'm putting like maximum pressure onto here. That's as quick as it's going. And when it kind of starts to give out, it means that the filter is basically clogged. Okay, I'm going to say that filter is kind of screwed. Third hand, thank you. And so we're just going to take this off. This is now garbage. It's just got like kind of a more yellow hue. Let's compare it to a new filter. Let's put it that way. So I don't know if you can tell, but when we compare these two together, one has a definite like hue to it and the other one is clearly white. So this has worked quite well. Now we're going to put our new filter on and rinse, repeat. Oh, new filter, who this? Okay, now we're going to get a little bit more because I need a little bit more for the sample. Put it back on. And then continue to fill up our sample. As you can see, like I'll hold it out over here. Look, that's how slow it's going out now, pushing through it, when before it was a solid stream. Well, that looks like all I'm going to get out of that. So you can already see that this is about a 50 ml sample. I've got about 30 mils in here. Already gone through 2 filters just for that. I will pick that up, I promise. I promise. I pinky promise. I promise. I swear. And now we get the luxury of a new filter. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at it go. It's not going as much anymore, which is disappointing. And that's all she wrote. Beautiful, isn't it? Oh my god. I almost just lost my entire sample. And I put my cap down here. It's a full
little shot.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful, just like you, so handsome. It's going to be about potentially 36 degrees here today, but I thought I'd just calibrate the big old sound. I saw a pH change of about 3, but I was measuring depths of an extra, like, sometimes half meter depth in between when I was measuring samples. So that's not out of the ordinary. I was also measuring them over different times, so pH does fluctuate. So I'm not actually surprised about that, but just in case, I thought I'd calibrate the probe again, just to make sure that it's not stuffing up because it's stuffed up. It's just recording actually what's happening. So I'm actually going to calibrate that right now. Actually calibrating a probe, almost all like pH probes, is pretty similar. Basically, read something very quickly, then dunk it in some chemicals. Not hard, just kind of annoying and a bit time consuming. So I'll do that quickly. Okay, we will be calibrating. Okay, so basically what I've determined, which I remember from last time, is the temperature probe and the pH probe are obviously different. So you actually immerse them both when you're calibrating for pH. But that means I have to hold this up the entire time while I'm calibrating it. So that's going to be painful. So be it. So I'm going to submerge the temperature and pH probe in the solution like that. What you did not see was me for the past 40 minutes fiddling around with the pH probe because it kept saying it was a pH of 10 and not 4. There was an inkling in me that said that that was kind of not right. The pH probe was so out of whack that I don't know what happened, because it was fine in the day, and then in the evening that's when it looked a bit suspicious. So I calibrated it this morning. I don't know why it was so out of whack, but it was. But you know, sitting there cross-legged on the concrete for like 40 minutes or so, my legs hurt a lot. You ready for round 3? I'm not. Well, I'm gonna go get my toes wet. So excited. Me, the sondy, the probe, you know, and the water, and Eric, all together. Oh, so fun. And I've taken all very accurate measurements. I'm going to take a very inaccurate measurement. I want to put 20 to 25 enclosures in this dam, and I want to know if 20 to 25 enclosures will fit in this dam. And I'm doing that very arbitrarily with a pole and measuring tape. So about here, I want to know that a 2 meter enclosure could fit here. I'm gonna not do that, but I'm just gonna about over here. So I'm gonna say this is the most inaccurate measurement you could possibly take, but it's not really to record anything, just give me an idea. And so basically I'm just going to go along and see how many enclosures will actually fit going side by side, like if they were shoulder to shoulder. So me just minding my own business, kind of chilling in the dam, and I'm like 4 meters out, and a bull ant lands on my neck. Now, mind you, there was no trees hanging over the dam. Like, scuba dived off the top of a tree like 15 meters away and decided that I'm its prime target. And then, mind you, it died because it drowned. I flicked it off and I watched it sink. I do not understand. So in these, you see there's a little, the leaf is almost folded. And if I open it up, in this one, this is a little spider nest, right? Which is not the worst. Don't really want the spider nest in there. It can, now that it's open like that, a bird will eat it. But in a bunch of the other ones, they're also closed over. And so that kind of halts new growth, which is a big issue. But in other ones that are like closed over, in here, sometimes you find a little grub. So in this one, you can see it's been like, all this new growth isn't going to grow very well when stuck together. But I don't know if you can see that right in the center there, got a little grub. And we don't like grubs here. Well, besides me getting stung by a bull ant, the probe needing to be calibrated because it was being really goofy, and me falling and sinking
and slipping over like 85,000 times. Went very well, and I will need to come do this another 60 times or so. So, but
Oh, that's a funny looking turkey.
I'm looking at a funny looking turkey. It's holding the camera. How's the Serenity?
Please, mate.